You're listening to Straight Outta Stratford 203 with Zach and Julian, the best sports podcast in Connecticut. Sit back and enjoy the ride in 3, 2, 1.
Straight Outta Stratford, slinging takes like Stafford, talking all the big games, have a beer right after. When it comes to the facts and the stats we provide, better know that our names will be up in the rafters.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Straight Outta Stratford podcast, episode number 43. I'm your host, Zach.
And I am Julian.
And it feels good to be back. I know I'm sorry I missed last week. I was a little bit under the weather, and week before we had a couple scheduling issues, but we are officially back in the studio. A lot of stuff that we're going to be covering, but we'll try to, keep it fairly brief. I don't want to bore everybody. Plus, there's a lot of different topics that we can cover. NFL obviously just released their schedules last night.
Yeah, we're switching it up. This time we're talking NFL first instead of last.
Yeah, which is usually a little bit different from what we usually do. I know the NFL is one of the more hot topics that everyone loves talking about, but since we're not really in season, there's not really much going on other than a few signings and the schedule releases. You want to talk about that first, get that out of the way, and then you got a lot of other sports that are going on that are currently mid-season or in the postseason right now.
Yep.
So quick NFL, couple signings. We did have David Njoku signing a 1-year, $8 million deal with the Los Angeles Chargers. I know a lot of people were surprised by that. I like the signing for the Chargers
I was about to say the same thing. I like it a lot. If you ask me who their tight end was last year, I can't really say a name doesn't come to mind except for that
Oronde
Gatson guy
who had he had a very good year last year. Njoku really not so much with Cleveland. I know he had spent 9 years of his career with Cleveland.
I think a big part of Njoku's decline with Cleveland last year had a lot to do with Harold Fannin coming in and Harold Fannin playing the way he did, because you immediately saw Harold Fannin come in and just take most of Njoku's production.
Well, there's a lot of weapons that they have on their team that are fairly new, like adding Quinshad Judkins to their backfield, having Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel as quarterbacks at some point.
I also think that their quarterback situation was also not the best last year, because you started the season off with who was their starting quarterback? Was it Joe Flacco?
Well, it was Joe Flacco for a portion.
Flacco, and then they went to Dylan Gabriel, and then they went to
Shedeur.
I don't think that the inconsistency at quarterback helped at all.
No. Well, it was also injury, too. I know he was banged up last year, and I'm pretty sure he missed a few games due to a knee injury. So that did not help either. But yeah, I like the signing a lot for the Chargers. I think it gives the Chargers an identity now with Mike McDaniel.
Another offensive threat, too, because you've seen production out of Njoku before.
Of course. Now he's a valuable weapon.
And you haven't really seen him with a quarterback of Justin Herbert's caliber yet.
No, I agree with that.
And Justin Herbert does love his tight ends. That's the thing that is well known, that Herbert does love his tight ends. The first two people he always looks for on the field are his first option, which is Keenan Allen.
Was Keenan Allen.
Is he not on the Chargers anymore?
I think he may have signed back, but still, that's not his number one option anymore, whether it be Ladd McConkey or Quentin Johnston.
His safety blanket
is
Keenan Allen. And then he checks for his tight end.
Yeah, and I know he's had quite a few different tight ends roll through there, and he's tried to utilize them.
Only other one I could think of is Donald Parham.
Well, no, they had Gerald Everett for a while.
Gerald Everett, and then Donald Parham was there, and then they had, I don't know who else they had.
I mean, like I said, Will Dissly was there, I think, for a little bit, too.
Yes, it was Will Dissly. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, they had quite a few, but the big thing I like is now, like I said, with Mike McDaniel joining the staff and being the offensive coordinator, I think that it caters more to Justin Herbert's play style. I think McDaniel's going to rely more on a pass-heavy kind of gameplay where they could actually take a little play out of the Rams playbook and run multiple tight end sets. I think that that's something that you're going to see quite often. Obviously, it can be very effective against a bunch of different coverages. I think that having two tight ends like Gadsden, who proved himself last year, plus Njoku this year, it's definitely going to be an interesting setup that they're going to have, as well as the fact that you should have Omarion Hampton going into his second year, being a little bit healthier, obviously starting a little bit more fresh. I think that the Chargers, like we all saw it last year, they had a good year up until the playoffs.
Yeah, they did.
Offensive line was really banged up, missing a lot of guys from early. I believe
Rashawn Slater was out.
Yeah, Joe Alt was also out.
I
out. Mean, they had a lot of guys banged up, but the other problem was even their replacements. They were ranked as some of the worst offensive linemen in football, and that did not help the cause. I think that they'll definitely see strides forward this year. I think adding Njoku is definitely a big piece, but it'll be interesting to see how the Chargers season pans out, especially with a new offensive coordinator, Justin Herbert with a couple more weapons, maybe a different style. Obviously Harbaugh still coaches very well over there too. They've definitely turned it around in prior than what they have in prior years. So it should be interesting to see how they do. Another signing that I don't have on the paper, but we're just going to touch on, was Breece Hall signing his extension with the New York Jets. I was very surprised. I've been saying for the past couple of months that I thought it was going to
get traded.
I thought he was going to get moved.
I thought he was going to get moved as well. But I guess the Woody Johnson finally realized, like, hey, we can't get what we want for Breece Hall, so we got to see what he wants to stay.
And he's a good player.
He's a good player, but giving him, what's he getting, like 15 a year or something?
I think it's a steeper amount.
I'll look that up real quick.
I think it was a 3-year extension.
It is a 3-year extension.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by the whole extension too. I think it was like $45 million.
It was a 3-year, $45.75 million contract.
Yeah,
extension.
so he's making about like 15 and a quarter per year.
Comprising of 43.5 base up to 45.75 with incentives.
Yeah, I mean that's still a lot, but again, Breece Hall's definitely proven that he's a good running back, and he's durable, and well, I wouldn't say durable. He's versatile.
Guaranteed $29 million.
Yeah. Well, he deserved the payday. Like I said, he's pretty versatile. He's able to catch passes out of the backfield. He's a pretty tough runner to stop. I mean, we've seen very good years from him. The biggest issue is he needs to stay healthy. But I was kind of surprised that they didn't move.
A big thing for him staying healthy, it does have to do with the Jets' offensive line, I think.
I could agree with that, too. I think that their offense is not going to be as bad. The only issue that really holds them back, again, is Geno Smith, which, I mean, they just drafted Cade Klubnik out of Clemson, which I very surprised that he fell as far as he did.
What round did they get him in again?
I think they ended up getting him in like the 3rd or 4th round. I know he was a day 3 pick. I'm almost positive. But yeah, that was kind of surprising. I mean, the whole quarterback situation for them has been very tough. I don't know which direction that they really go in. I'm pretty sure they have Bailey Zappi on their roster too. So it's just not a pretty quarterback picture. But I feel
apparently they have an offer on the table for Mr. Unlimited too.
Oh, geez.
Well, Unlimited.
Well,
who is just terrible. Yeah. He didn't really play well for the Giants except that one game against Dallas.
I do like what they did with the draft, though. I mean, adding Omar Cooper to a room that's going to have Adonai Mitchell and Garrett Wilson now.
They got Omar Cooper. They got David Bailey.
Well, it's not even. I'm not even just talking about the draft picks. I'm talking about the sake of the offense. You add Omar Cooper. You add Kenyon Sadiq. You have Mason Taylor from the year before. You have Breece Hall. You have Garrett Wilson. They're actually, I'd say a consistent quarterback away from actually making some strides because their defense is good.
I don't know if either one of these are a free agent, but you saw them add 2 very underrated receivers at the deadline last year in John Mechie and Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah.
And I know John Mechie was supposed to be a good prospect coming out of college, but he had to miss his first season in the league because I believe he had cancer.
He did, correct. Yeah, because he played great at Alabama. Obviously, I remember that.
Well, yeah,
being a Bama fan, I got to watch it, so I was very surprised and happy that he was able to get over the whole cancer hump. But he hasn't really been the same since he's come back. I just don't feel like he's been given the opportunity to. Maybe with the Jets, once they have their quarterback situation handled, he could do a little bit better. I definitely still think he's got it in him, but that's another situation that, like I said, I think that it really relies on the quarterback. Once the quarterback issue was solved, which who knows, could be next year. Could maybe be this year if Geno goes down and Cade comes in and starts playing well, or maybe they sign Russell Wilson and it works. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. The one other signing actually stays in the same division, the AFC East, and that is Devon Achane signing a 4-year, $68 million extension with the Miami Dolphins.
I think that's deserved.
It's very well deserved. I mean, you look at his stats from last year. He finished with 1,350 rushing yards, 1,838 yards from scrimmage. He was ranked number 1 by PFF for rushing grade with an 89.2. He's a dual threat running back. Obviously, I think the big reason why they paid him as much as they did is he is going to be the focal point of that offense. You don't have Tyreek Hill.
Well, yeah,
you don't have Jalen Waddle anymore.
They made it clear that they were going to focus on using him as the number 1 option.
Oh, and he should be the number 1 option.
He should be the number 1 option now. I'm only saying this. I wasn't in a dynasty league last year, but for fantasy owners, does that raise a concern on how high you should draft him? Because if you're looking at it, right, this is just a genuine question, which I thought of right now, because they're going to use him as their number 1 option because they didn't. I don't know if they took a receiver in the draft. I didn't pay attention to Miami's draft at all.
To be honest, I don't even know.
I didn't pay attention to Miami's draft.
I didn't pay attention to their draft.
I know they didn't sign anybody in free agency.
No.
I know the receiver room is pretty bad.
Pretty bad. On top of the fact that they don't have any money because they have Tua's contract that they still have to pay.
They still have to pay Tua's contract, and they got to give Tyreek Hill some money too.
That whole organization.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Right? If you're a fantasy manager and you see Devon Achane, he's not the biggest running back that there is out there. He's kind of small and shifty, which makes him so elusive. Mm-hmm. Is there any hesitation of taking him due to the risk of if they keep using him almost every play on every down of the drive, that he will get severely injured?
Well, I think that a lot of people will look at the upside of him.
Well, I'm not advising people not to take him when they can, because I had him last year and he was amazing. But I said this once they traded Waddle and once they had Tyreek gone. I said this, if they're looking to do a reset, I know they want to use Achane as the focal point, but they could have gotten value from him when he peaked at his highest, because if it's just a fact that if you use one player over and over again as your number 1 option, they're eventually going to get hurt, and it could either be a minor injury that could set him out for 1 or 2 weeks, or it could be a major injury that could change the trajectory of their NFL career.
Absolutely.
And as a young player like Achane, in a position where the longevity for his position isn't that long as it is, like as it stands.
True. I personally think that he'll be fine.
I'm not saying like.
I don't think that they're going to give it to him every single play. He's going to be used a lot.
I'm not saying that either, but what I'm saying is that you have a guy in Achane who is bright, and you have 2. It's not even like your second and third string running backs aren't that great.
Yeah, they have Ollie Gordon, who they took last year.
They have Ollie Gordon, and then they have Jalen Wright, too. Or is Jalen Wright a free agent? I don't know.
Well, I think that you're going to see a lot of usage from those guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of underplay it. So, to be honest, I definitely see that there being some level of concern with the amount that Achane will be used because no one knows.
His workload could be too much.
It could be another Christian McCaffrey situation.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking of. You have Christian McCaffrey in Carolina, and then they kind of did the same thing with in a way with, well, Michael Thomas was always hurt because he was just always hurt.
Well, Michael Thomas was always just hurt. Yeah, exactly.
But it could be another, like the last 2 or 3 seasons you saw out of Mike Evans. Mike Evans got hurt.
Yeah. Well, that was also with age too. But like I said, I think that it's
another thing, right? For his position,
it's concerning
as a running back. Most teams look at that. I want to look up how old he is, because by the age,
he can't be that old.
By the age of 29, most teams are looking at the running backs.
He's not. Trust me, he's not close.
He's not close to 29. But what I'm saying is that giving him a contract and then setting this offseason up for it to look like, oh yeah, our offense is going to be the Devon Achane show. Because I could see it right now. Their offense is going to be read option Devon Achane, Malik Willis.
Yeah, that would probably make sense. But the thing that I want to talk about the whole situation is not just for like the fantasy value. To be honest with you, I think that I think that the signing alone puts a lot of pressure on Atlanta and Detroit, because you got Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs, both that are going to end up looking for contract extensions. And he is now making what, if you do the math? I don't even, wow. I'm having a brain fart right now. He's making like $17 million a year, I think. 17 million?
16 or 17 million a year.
It's like 17 million a year.
He's under contract through the 2030 season.
Yep.
He's the third highest paid running back behind Saquon and Christian McCaffrey.
And it makes sense.
He is guaranteed $32 million out of that contract.
But the thing is, again, now you're going to have Bijan and Jahmyr that are both going to be looking for contracts that are probably more expensive than him. Good luck to Atlanta and Detroit, because they're probably, I saw a video of it the other night. Somebody was like mocking Detroit and Atlanta, looking at the phone, seeing that Achane extension going, oh boy, what are our wallets going to look like after we have to sign Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs to contracts? Because you know that they're going to get paid more than he is.
Yeah, these wide receivers are absolutely doo-doo.
Yeah, they're
wide receiver 1, Malik
Parker,
Washington.
I was about to say. Oof.
Wide receiver 2, Jalen Tolbert.
They have Tutu Atwell.
Tutu Atwell is their wide receiver 3.
Yep.
And then behind Washington, they have Caleb Douglas, Chris Bell, Kevin Coleman Jr.,
oh God,
Theo Wise Jr., or Theo Wees, Taj Washington, and Terrace Marshall Jr.
That may be one of the worst receiving rooms in the NFL.
It might be.
They are going to have a really bad year, but you know that Achane's going to...
They might need to go into who... I want to see.
There's a lot of free agent receivers that are still out there, too.
Say.
Debo's still out there. Stephon Diggs is still out there. Technically, Tyreek Hill is still out there.
But who wants to go play for...
That team is going to go 2-15 next year. Or maybe worse.
We have... Diggs is there.
Debo.
Jawan
Jennings is off the board because he just signed with Minnesota for $13 million. Yep. Stephon. And that's about all the good ones.
Yeah.
The rest are, I mean, not the cream of the crop, but yeah, I don't know. Miami's just going to be bad. But Achane's going to get a lot of use from them. I think that the contract was deserved, but again, I kind of agree with what you said before. It may just diminish his value because they're going to use him a ton, and that's going to be very concerning for dynasty owners. If you're just trying to go for workload purposes for 1 year and you're drafting, that's a prime opportunity. But if you're looking into it for the long haul, good luck. Then we'll kind of switch off that. We did see that the NFL released the schedules. There are 9 international games this year, which is the first time we've ever seen that many. You got the Rams and Niners the Rams and Niners in Melbourne, Australia in week 1. Ravens, Cowboys in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in week 3. Colts, Commanders in London, England, week 4. Then you have the Eagles and Jaguars in London in week 5. The Jaguars will play back-to-back weeks. They take the Texans on in London in week 6. Steelers, Saints in Paris, France in week 7. Bengals versus Falcons in Madrid, Spain in week 9. Patriots, Lions in Munich, Germany in week 10. And then week 11 will be the final international game, which is the Vikings versus 49ers in Mexico City. Yeah, that's a lot of international games.
It's a lot of international games, but what I like about the international games is for a while it used to be, there's one game a season in London.
And it was always Jacksonville.
It was always no, I thought it was always the Jets.
No, Jacksonville's always London. They have supposedly there's a huge following of Jaguar fans in London. I don't know why.
The Jaguars aren't good. Well, for a while, it was either the Jaguars or the Jets that always played in London.
Trust me, it was the Jaguars are almost every single year in London. That's why they're playing back-to-back weeks.
Well, no, I know, but what I'm saying is for a while, before it was multiple games, it used to be, every year, it used to be the Jets were always in London. And I would always question that. I'm like, why would they send the Jets to London?
I don't know.
But what I'm saying is that you have, it used to be one game a year in London, and then you saw them branch out to Germany, And now, I'm not sure. I think they might have played one game in Madrid last year.
No, they played one game in Brazil last year, which was the Eagles and Packers. I remember that.
Eagles, Packers. That was 2 years ago.
Or whatever it was.
Because last year in Brazil, it was Chiefs, Chargers, week 1.
Yes, correct.
And then, but you see them branching out to Madrid in Spain.
And France.
Australia.
Yeah. Australia kind of makes sense. I think that's pretty cool.
Australia makes sense because Australia is predominantly a rugby country.
Yeah, and they're hand in hand.
One in the same. One just has pads and one doesn't.
Yeah. One's a real man sport and one's a man sport, I guess.
Whoa.
That's why I'm saying rugby's a real man sport. You listen, you're hitting without pads. Those dudes are massive. Yeah, no. I'll pass on that. I like the whole expansion of the international games. 9 is a lot. And I'm also kind of surprised at the way that some teams are. Like the 49ers have 2 international games. The Jaguars have back-to-back weeks. And then you have all different teams like the Rams, being international in week 1 or, even the Ravens and Cowboys. Like there's a lot of very interesting ones. The travel schedule, I know for a fact, they said that the 2 teams that have to travel the longest distances this year are the 49ers and the Rams.
I know.
So
and what I feel like when you think of NFL season, right? You think of there's supposed to be a set amount of home games, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw this last night. The Jaguars only have 3 home games in between weeks 4 and weeks 17.
Yeah, it's absurd how they scheduled it. Like I said, I don't understand how they came up with what teams go where. Obviously, the only one that made sense was the Jaguars in London because, like I said, they have a following.
And when they go, right?
Back-to-back
weeks, like.
I actually kind of like that, though, so they don't have to travel.
That's the only plus side on it. They don't have to travel back-to-back weeks in London. They could just
But if I was a Jaguars fan in Jacksonville, I'd be pissed. Especially if they're season ticket holders and they want to go watch home games. If
you're season ticket holders, I wouldn't
be happy.
I would try and get a refund now.
Because that's pretty bad.
That is pretty bad.
But, yeah, I do like the whole international slate. I think it's pretty cool. I'm excited for the Rams week 1 matchup. I know that the schedule is a little weird this year too, though, because I saw they have a couple Wednesday night games, they have a couple Friday night games, or they have like the Black Friday game. The Rams are playing against the Packers on the night before Thanksgiving, which obviously Thanksgiving's a Thursday. They're playing on a Wednesday night. It's very confusing how they came up with what teams play what nights and where. It's like
I like on Thanksgiving how they have like the 3 different games throughout the day. That's always a great thing to do.
Yeah, of course.
Then you have the what is it? Usually one game on Black Friday.
Yeah, there's the one game on Black Friday. Usually they have a couple on Christmas, but this is the first year that they've done one the night before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And of course it's the Packers and the Rams. The Packers always play on Thanksgiving. So why are you putting them the night before?
Yeah, wait, no, the Packers always play. What? That's weird.
That's what I'm saying is the Packers, it's tradition for them to play on Thanksgiving. Now they're not playing on Thanksgiving.
When you think of Thanksgiving, you think of Packers, Lions, Cowboys.
Yeah. And they have the Bears playing against the Lions on Thanksgiving, which that'll be a good game. But, again, I don't understand how they came up with it. It's very strange.
Are there only 2 games on Thanksgiving
No, there's 3. There's 3. There's Rams-Packers the night before and then 3 games in the day. I think the Chiefs actually play as well. It should be interesting.
But I know they were making schedule changes to avoid having, because late in the season you'd see the double header games on Monday Night Football, and I know they were making schedule changes to not do that anymore because a lot of people were complaining about it, and I do think that it was kind of stupid.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you have there are other days you can use besides Sunday and Monday, right?
Yeah, it's just more common that they want to make sure that they get all the viewership, and Sunday and Monday tend to be the more popular days for them because a lot of people cut those days out for football. Just like college football is Saturday, so everybody knows.
Or even if you're doing a double header on Monday, start one game at 6,
and then do one game at 8:30. Yeah, it's potentially could work like that.
But I don't understand.
Yeah.
Because one game would start at 8, and then the next game would start at 8:45, and then you'd have 2 different channels.
Yeah, and they're already bad enough with the way that the streaming services are now, too. So it is what it is. Yeah, we can kind of move off the NFL. Obviously, we're going to be looking forward to covering a lot more NFL stuff in the coming weeks, obviously, as preseason and the OTAs really start kicking off and stuff like that. Obviously, there should be more signings. And then, plus the June 1st deadline, you're probably going to see a couple people start to get moved as well, including guys like A.J. Brown, potentially. So we'll cover that a little bit more. One thing that we are going to transition into now is the NBA playoffs. We're not really going to focus on the Western Conference much. Obviously, I'm wearing the Knicks t-shirt, which that's what we're really going to be analyzing. I know it's a couple, like a week almost later, but obviously something that I've wanted to talk about since I couldn't be on the show last week.
I mentioned it briefly last week, not fully in depth, because I knew I would. No offense to Jaden, we love Jaden. He helps out a lot, and when one of us can't be here,
he steps up.
in.
Yep.
But like Jaden said last week, he doesn't really know much about sports
like we do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's definitely why we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about it in depth now.
Yeah.
But I know you said you don't want to go in depth about the Western Conference, but just quickly, I want to bring it up.
Okay.
Just because
that works.
We're talking about the playoffs. It has
to at least be brought up. That's fair.
It has to be brought up. I know last week I didn't talk about the Mets, but I don't follow the Mets, so I wouldn't know. But
don't worry, we're not going to go crazy in depth.
No,
with that
I know.
Either,
no, I know.
That'll be next week.
I know, but that just so San Antonio is up 3-2 against the Spurs.
Yep.
No, against the Wolves.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Wolves. San Antonio is the Spurs.
Yeah.
You saw them win on, was it Wednesday? Or no, Tuesday. Or was it Monday? I don't know. It was
I think it was Tuesday.
They did play. It was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. It was definitely Tuesday.
They played on Tuesday night, and you saw them beat the Wolves by a decent margin. They play tonight at 9:30. If San Antonio wins, they will be advancing to the finals over Minnesota. And if Minnesota wins, you will see them
go back to San Antonio for Game 7.
I think right now, if there's one team that'll give OKC a run for its money, it is San Antonio.
Which I said before the NBA season started.
You did say that.
I said props. That with Mike on the show, saying that if there was anybody that was going to be a sleeper powerhouse that could take OKC down, it was San Antonio, as long as Victor Wembanyama stayed healthy. And sure enough, what a shocker! It's like I knew, but. Yes, that's been a great series so far. Obviously, tension's flaring in that one. Anthony Edwards playing through a little bit of a banged-up knee injury, but that doesn't stop him.
Speaking of OKC, we saw them take out the Lakers.
Which...
No surprise, no Luka.
No Luka. Austin Reeves did not have a good series. LeBron can only do so much at age 41. Could potentially have been his last game. I don't think so.
I think it might have been his last game with the Lakers.
I think it very well could be the last game with the Lakers. I don't think it's the last game of his career because he still played great during that series.
He played great, not only during that series, but during the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. He was the big reason why the Lakers even made it past the first round.
And I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I think his son Bryce did enter the draft. I'm not sure.
No, he didn't even because he didn't even play last year. He redshirted for Arizona. He's going to be going to college basketball one more year at least.
I don't know where I read that.
Yeah, but then at least I know what you're going to go to was with the Detroit and the Cleveland Cavaliers series.
Yeah, I could see him going either one of two places because I remember.
LeBron?
I remember him saying, and I saw an article about this, or D Wade said on a podcast. He said I'm either going to retire here or at the Garden, but I honestly think I could see him either going to the Knicks or Cleveland. I could see him going back to Cleveland.
I could see him potentially going to Golden State.
I was going to say
finishing with Steph Curry.
I could see him going there too.
Listen, I'm going to make a comment about New York, and then we'll go into the Cleveland and Detroit series before we get into the Knicks analysis. I do not want a 42-year-old LeBron on the Knicks. What they're doing right now is working. If you want to continue success, now listen, I know LeBron can contribute. I do not want a 42-year-old coming in and demanding what goes on and trying to run the team. Our team's been doing well enough. We got a lot of really good players. I like what Mike Brown has done. I don't want to change anything unless we can make ourselves a little bit better and go out and get one more superstar. Now, granted, LeBron is still very, very good. I do not want a 42-year-old in our lineup. I want them to be a younger or middle-aged superstar, not a guy that's going to be like LeBron where he's, going into his last year. I know Stephen A. said it on First Take in the morning or whatever. I'm not interested. Okay, a couple years ago, if this was LeBron for the decision coming to New, absolutely, I would have said, please, come on, bring it on.
Like
No.
when he went to the Lakers.
Yeah, or like when he went to when he went to Miami or something like that. Sure, I do not want him right now, and it's no offense. He's still one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
Exactly,
but not at 42 years old. No, thank you.
Will LeBronto finally have him?
No.
No.
Not after Drake just dissed him on the album released last night.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then we also have the Cleveland versus the Detroit series going on. Cleveland went up 3-2 in the series the other night. They are actually going to be playing Game 6 tonight in Cleveland. The big thing I've noticed from this series, whichever team turns the ball over less in the game wins. I mean, the first 2 games, Cleveland struggled with the turnovers. James Harden did not look good. Donovan Mitchell was trying to do everything that he could, and obviously he had some tough moments, but they were just very, very sloppy. Detroit took advantage and won the first 2 at home. Then the entire script flipped.
Yeah.
And Detroit started turning the ball over. James Harden started playing well, and in the big moments where you need Detroit to come back, they couldn't do it because they were making too many mistakes. Same thing in Game 5 again. You have Detroit up 15 points. They start turning the ball over. Cleveland inches their way back. They tie up the game. They go to overtime. Detroit missed 8 of their last 9 shots in regulation. 8 of their last 9, blew the lead, and then Cleveland comes out with all the momentum in overtime and wins. Now, the reason why we bring this up is this is what will help us transition into the Knicks analysis and what we think about, the potential series between either the Knicks and Cavs or the Knicks and Pistons. What I will say, Detroit had our number this year. We were 0-3 against Detroit this season.
That's
Cleveland,
correct.
We were 2-1. There's a side of me that wants to play Detroit because I want the revenge. I know that the team that we have right now, if we're playing the way that we are playing, or the Knicks are playing, that they can beat them.
I 100% agree.
However, I also think that I think that Detroit is a better matchup for the Knicks than Cleveland is for some reason. I don't know why. Cleveland always seems to be very interesting with us. I know that we beat them a couple times.
I know. I 100% agree, but here's my look on this whole thing, right? Is you have a team in Detroit who the Knicks were 0-3 against in the regular season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you saw them play. I'm not gonna say I don't follow the Knicks during the regular season because I do, but I'm not the type of person that sits and watches every single.
I try to watch
every
a lot
single
of them.
game. They could have played Detroit when the team either A, wasn't all healthy and not everybody was playing, or B, when the team there was like that 2 or 3 week period where the team just wasn't clicking, and it was a little shaky. But what I noticed is that usually when the Knicks play Detroit, it doesn't matter if we lost to them 3 times in a row. Only thing that matters is that it's close. Like, I don't know the scores from the games the Knicks played, but usually they tend to be close.
No, they beat us up earlier in the year.
Okay,
pretty
so
bad.
Disregard that statement. But I'm looking at the playoffs last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the Knicks record was against Detroit the season prior, but I do know that we sent them home, I believe, in 6 games?
Yeah, it was 6, but it was a very, very close series.
It was a very close series. Now, you're looking at the matchup of Cleveland or Detroit. When you're looking at Detroit's playoff run, they've been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing Cleveland. They were up 2-0. Now they're starting to choke a little bit.
Well, they struggled against Orlando,
too. They struggled against Orlando, too. They went, 7 games?
Well, yeah, they were down
3-1
in the series and then came back and won the last 3 games of the series to win the series. So
I know. So they struggled with Orlando, and now they're playing Cleveland. And I think the first 2 games, Cleveland didn't know what to do.
A little bit.
And now they're realizing that if they always have somebody on Cade and somebody close to that can double Cade, the Pistons really don't have anybody else aside from Cade himself to actually go out there and move the ball. Like,
yeah,
I'm not saying
he's their floor general.
I'm not saying the Pistons are a bad team because they're in the.
They were the number one seed for a reason.
But the only other shooter that I can think of on that team is Tobias Harris, and Tobias Harris is up there. But when you're looking at the Cavaliers roster, you see they were the 2 seed or the 4 seed? They were 4. They were the 4 seed under the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say it. Doesn't matter what team he plays on. Doesn't matter if it takes him a game or two to get situated. There's always a different feeling when you're playing James Harden in the playoffs.
Well, James Harden has had
had
some big issues in the playoffs though with choking.
I know, but not only with James Harden, I feel like when the Knicks played the Cavs the last time in the playoffs, I believe they lost. Did they? I don't know if they won or lost.
I'm pretty sure that they almost lost, but
I know they might have lost because then the Cavs played the Celtics, and that's the year the Celtics won.
Yeah.
The big problem with the Cavs is Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, oh, Donovan Mitchell, they're playing in Cleveland, he's going to do well. He's not going to do well when he comes to the Garden. No, it's quite the opposite, actually, because Donovan Mitchell's from New York.
Yep.
And
he's a huge Mets fan.
He's a huge Mets fan, number one. Number two, Donovan Mitchell was almost traded to the Knicks instead of the Cavs.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Wow.
And
I'm glad he didn't because now we have Jalen Brunson. But
exactly. But what I'm saying is Donovan Mitchell is the type of player that likes to play in the Garden. And if you're doubling Donovan Mitchell, you have James Harden, who somebody's going to be open, whether it be James Harden, Evan Mobley.
Yep. What's his name?
Jared
Allen.
Jalen Johnson.
Jared Allen.
No, but the Johnson brother. His brother got drafted
yes,
in the
you're
NFL.
right. Yeah.
I think it is Jalen Johnson, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I see what you're saying. And it's just, for me, the only reason why I'd really want to play Cleveland is because we get home court advantage. If the Knicks play against Cleveland, the first 2 games are in New York. You're going to play 4 of a potential 7 in New York. And the Knicks usually tend to play very, very well at the Garden. They had one of the best home records in the NBA this year. So I don't know which way it's going to go. There's a side of me that wants it to be Detroit to kind of get that revenge, but then there's a side of me that wants it to be Cleveland so we can get home court advantage. Regardless, I think it should be interesting. I think both teams are going to be really gassed because Cleveland played a 6-game series. Detroit played a 7-game series against Orlando. Now they could potentially be going 6 or 7 games again. They're going to be a little bit gassed and banged up.
It is going to be it's a 6-game series for Cleveland, a 7-game series for Detroit.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is Cleveland wins tonight, they just went through two 6-game series in a row. If Detroit wins the series, they just went through 2 7-game series in a row. And meanwhile, the Knicks are rested, haven't played in almost a week.
And you know what? That kind of scares me.
It does a little bit, but
there's a little doubt in my mind, like, hey, the Knicks were actually firing on all cylinders, and now they haven't played in a week.
Yeah, listen, I think they'll be fine, and the reason why, which is why we're going to go into that Knicks analysis of the Sixers series. There's multiple things that I really liked from that series that we didn't really see from them before, but it's very prominent to why I think that they can win regardless of if they play Cleveland or Detroit. Number one.
It came out of nowhere.
3
All
points.
of a sudden, they just started shooting the ball like it
well,
was...
yeah. Game 4 of that series was nuts with the 3-point shooting.
Yeah, they had 25 in the first 23 in the first half or something. They had 11 in the first quarter.
So here's what I saw on it. They won the series with a 19.4 per game margin of victory. So each game they won on average by almost 20 points.
Insane.
Largest through 2 rounds since 1984. The league only had 16 teams then. Through that series, the Knicks shot over 40% from 3-point range, which their percentages on effective field goals was one of the highest in NBA history. And not only that, you also saw many role players like Shamet and McBride shoot the ball really well, which is awesome. That's going to be a huge key for them going into the next series. The thing that I think was the biggest factor was what Mike Brown did with the offensive setup. And that was moving Karl Anthony Towns and putting him on the elbow was brilliant, because then you draw Joel Embiid out of the paint, and the minute you drew him out of the paint, Jalen Brunson's got all day to walk through the paint. And he's one of the best scorers in the paint.
You got Jalen Brunson in the paint. You have Anunoby. You can drive to the basket.
Yep. Josh Hart was pretty decent in the paint as well. Karl Anthony Towns is.
That's another thing that you don't really, like, a lot of NBA fans are overlooking, is that when, like, a few years ago, you thought of Josh Hart, you thought of him as just some, like, role player that went from team to team and he wasn't really good. But you're seeing Josh Hart, once he got traded to the Knicks, you're finally seeing that he found his home, like his NBA team that he's been. You see what Josh Hart has done with the Knicks, and you're like,
yeah, he's been great.
He's been great for the Knicks, and you're looking at all the other teams that just traded him as like a extra player in a package trade, like a trade deal.
Yeah,
and you're looking at them, and you're like, why wouldn't you keep a guy like this?
It's unbelievable to see the fact that he's been able to do that, but. Going back to Towns on the elbow, what a lot of people I think are overlooking is they're wondering, well, what does that really make a difference? And it's like, well, again, like we just said.
Towns didn't he win a 3-point contest?
I don't know if he won a 3-point contest. All I know is he did average 7.5 assists that last series per game.
Cat, I believe 2 or 3 years ago, won a 3-point contest.
Maybe. But regardless, Cat on the outside was able to draw Embiid out and allow the paint to open up.
Yep, 2022.
Yeah. I didn't know. Wow, that's pretty insane. And on top of the fact that if Embiid decides not to go to the perimeter, or all of the other Sixers defensive setup, however the hell you want to say it, in their defensive setup, they knew that if they start crashing the paint, they have to respect them cutting to the basket. So that means they have to compress, which leaves the outside and the perimeter wide open. So whatever the Knicks were doing in that situation with Towns on the elbow was either opening up the paint for Brunson and Anunoby when Anunoby was playing, or it made the Sixers respect that they were driving to the hoop and they started compressing and filling the paint, leaving the outside wide open, so guys like McBride, Shamet, and Brunson were lighting it up from three. That's why the Knicks were as successful as they were, is just they did not know how to handle Towns on the outside. They didn't know what to do, whether to step out or whether to play more conservative and stay in the paint. They didn't know what to do. That, their rebounding in the series was impeccable. I mean, they out-rebounded the Sixers by 42 rebounds throughout the series. More than 10 a game. So, regardless if they were missing shots, they were getting offensive rebounds. And if the Sixers were missing shots, the Knicks were getting defensive rebounds and going right into transition.
Yeah.
Which was huge for them as well, too. That's another thing. The defensive strategy was very smart. They've played great defensively, especially in that series, because all they did was they knew that Tyrese Maxey was going to be the one commanding the floor.
Exactly.
And they were haywire with him, causing him to kick the ball out. And the minute you take the ball out of his hands, Sixers, other than VJ Edgecombe, weren't really making many of their shots.
I mean, even in Game 4, you saw Edgecombe struggle a lot.
Oh, no doubt. But if you look at it, Maxey averaged 18.3 points per game during that series, which, again, 18.3 is not bad. But it's significantly less than what he averaged in the series prior against the Celtics. And it's lower than what he averaged during the regular season when he played.
Not only is it significantly less than what he averaged against the Celtics, I feel like the Knicks winning in 4 games shows how bad the Celtics choked that series.
Yeah.
When I saw that they were up by what?
3-1.
Yeah.
And they blew it, I think. Yeah, they were up 3-1, and they lost.
Yeah. They were up 3-1 to Philly. And going into the series, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like 3 years ago when Dante hit the 3 to win them the series or something like that. And then I'm sitting there like, wait, is this team just took the Celtics to 7 games?
Yep. I'm telling you, it was not pretty by the Celtics to do that. But again, the Knicks made very easy work of the Sixers. On top of the fact that this is something that we've talked about, I know it's been a consistent theme ever since the team was kind of assembled the way it is, and it's with the depth, the chemistry, next man up mentality, and the support that they've gotten. Obviously, we see the Villanova connection with Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson. Obviously, they don't have DiVincenzo anymore, but that would have been, it's still fairly intact. Has been awesome. Even when Anunoby went down, you saw guys step up behind him, especially, I've said his name multiple times, I'll say it again, Deuce McBride. Played awesome during that Sixers series when Anunoby went down. He was able to fill in a nice role. Again, Landry Shamit's another one, played really, really well off the bench. They have depth this year, which thank the Lord that Mike Brown has decided to utilize.
You have Kolek on the bench who hasn't been playing as much recently, but when he's in, he's
Huck Porty, Jeremy Sochan, Clarkson, Shamit, McBride, Alvarado, Mitch Robinson. I mean, they have depth. And this is one thing. A lot of the guys were here last year.
And that goes to show you how...
Well, I mean, a couple of them were. Alvarado wasn't, and
Sochan wasn't.
Sochan was not.
But Shamit was here.
Shamit was. Deuce McBride was. Mitch Robinson was. Kolek was. Where were these guys last year? When we needed the depth to start coming out and playing, Tom Thibodeau decided not to play any of them.
No, he didn't. And what makes what Mike Brown is doing with this team more impressive is that you see the way that they played against Philadelphia, and you look at the score, and you're like, oh, for the fourth game, you're like, oh, Philadelphia only lost by, I don't know what the score was.
30 points?
By 30. You saw them down by 30 for the last game of the series. But you're like, oh, well, why is everybody saying the Knicks are so good? They only beat them by 30, you know?
They beat them by 30.
They beat them by 30 almost every game, number one. Number two, their starters didn't play
the fourth quarters?
The fourth quarter and maybe the last 5 or 7 minutes of the third quarter.
Yeah. I mean, it was just an absolute thrashing. And a lot of people, if you're not ready for the Knicks, I'm going to make a very bold statement. I think that if the Knicks make the finals, they give either OKC or San Antonio a 7-game series. I think that they genuinely could do that.
I think they could do that too. I have a funny story. So my uncle got married the 1st of November. And one of his friends, Adam, who I'm not close with, but I was talking. He moved out of Connecticut. I don't know where he went. But Adam looks at me and he goes, last year I told my buddy before the season started to put $100 on OKC to win the championship. He thought I was crazy, and he did it. And OKC won. And I'd done that the past 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. I said as a joke, I said, who do you have winning this year? I said, let me in. I said, give me some of that insider knowledge. You got any insider knowledge? He goes, no, I don't watch basketball that much. But he goes, I think the Knicks are going to win I think the Knicks are going to win the championship. And
I hope they do.
I said, Adam, I hope you're right. And I did not put money on the Knicks to win the championship, and I should have.
Yeah, a lot of people should have. But, yeah, no, those 5 reasons that we kind of listed through are...
I am not saying I support gambling, but, because it's always a risk.
All right,
and if I were to put... Well, I got to say it.
Don't try and cover it now. We know.
I don't do it.
I know.
Often. Listen, I'm just saying. I'm not saying you should do it every single chance you get.
Spend your money. DraftKings.
No, don't.
No, we're not sponsored by them.
We're not.
Yeah, no. So
just if you do it responsibly.
Yes, please. But yeah, let's see what the Knicks can do in their next series. We're just gonna roll through one thing really quick. Couple cool storylines for the Stanley Cup playoffs that are left over, and then we're just gonna go into a very quick analysis of what we're gonna see potentially from the Subway Series that starts today between the Mets and the Yankees. Basically, there are how many teams left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 teams left in the NHL right now that have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. We just saw Anaheim eliminated last night. The night prior, we saw Minnesota get eliminated. But here are the cool storylines that are potentials for the Stanley Cup, whoever wins. You have Carolina, who's 8-0. They have not lost this playoff run. They swept Ottawa and Philly back-to-back in the series. Now, going into the playoffs, they were the favorite to win the Eastern Conference. Right now, it's very evident that they are definitely the favorites to win the Eastern Conference, at minimum. So that kind of makes sense. But they have the potential to go and basically finish almost undefeated. I mean, they're 8-0 in that run. So if they can continue the way that they're playing, who knows? Maybe they go 16-0. It's very possible. I don't think so, but it is what it is. Then you have Colorado winning their series. They've only lost one game. They're 8-1 through the first two rounds. They eliminated the Minnesota Wild the other night. They only lost in Game 3 to Minnesota, which was the first game in Minnesota of the series. They are the reigning President's Trophy winners, and they have the chance to be the first President's Trophy winner to win a Stanley Cup since the 2012-2013 Chicago Blackhawks. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Hasn't been a President's Trophy winner since then.
There should have been.
Don't even say it, okay? I don't want to get all riled up.
I want you to get riled up.
Then
Yes.
you have the Buffalo Sabres, which, I mean, they just lost the other night to Montreal, so there's a good chance that they are now going back to Montreal for Game 6 with the possibility of being eliminated. However, they broke their playoff drought this season after 14 straight years. They started out really slow, went on an incredible run, and finished with one of the best records in the NHL since like December 14th. They won their first playoff series against Boston for the first time since 2007. The last time they did that, they defeated the New York Rangers in the playoffs. What a shocker.
Not surprised.
They're looking to make their first finals appearance since 1999 and bring home their first Stanley Cup in NHL history, or in franchise history. They also have been to the Cup twice and lost both times, which was in 1975 and 1999. So they're looking for their first. Then you have the Montreal Canadiens looking to break the Canadian streak. There's been 33 consecutive years since a Canadian hockey team has won the Stanley Cup and brought that home. The last team to do it was the Montreal Canadiens in 1993. Obviously, there's been no Canadian team between Ottawa, Edmonton, Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, Winnipeg, all of them. Nobody's won a Stanley Cup in 33 years. So with a young roster led by a coach who I liked as a player a lot, Marty St. Louis, they have a very good chance at making a nice little run. I think that they would probably give Carolina the toughest time out of anybody, but that's just me. And then the final one, which the series just ended last night, was the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, this one's a little bit weird only because Vegas, towards the end of the year, did not really play their best hockey. At the end of the year, they fired their head coach, Bruce Cassidy, with only 8 games left and almost missed the playoffs. They proceeded to make the playoffs after hiring John Tortorella, former Rangers head coach, who I liked a lot because he was a nutcase. They ended up cracking into the top 8 in the Western Conference and now proceed to go to the Western Conference Final, which no one would have thought that with the way that they played towards the end of the year. They're heating up at the right time. A lot of cool storylines that could potentially come from them. Like I said, only 5 teams left, 4 spots remaining for the finals for the Eastern and Western Conference. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I know I've been watching a lot of it, so definitely something to be excited about. But we will wrap up here with one last topic, which is the New York Mets and the New York Yankees. Obviously, there's a lot of baseball stuff that we could cover, but we're going to focus on the hometown teams. Little bit different than where we were a couple weeks ago. A little bit different.
Well, it is a little bit different, but there's one thing that I keep seeing, and I know you want to keep it to the hometown teams, but there's 2 players that I've seen being floated around in trade rumors. One of them could happen because I don't think there's a no-trade clause, but one of them does have a no-trade clause. Could you guess who those 2 players are?
One of them is going to be Mr. Mike Trout.
That is one of them.
He's okay. So it's Mike Trout, and then you said there's one other player.
Yeah, saw this yesterday or Wednesday.
AL or NL player?
NL.
NL. Nando?
Not Nando.
No. NL player, not Nando.
Maybe in that division.
Maybe in that division. Well, in that division, it's Colorado. It's nobody from them, I don't think.
No.
The Dodgers.
No.
No. The Padres, which it's not Machado, so that's or Tatis. No. Who else is in that division? Oh, Rafael Devers.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Yeah, I saw the Rafael Devers potential trade rumors. I saw them people saying that they should trade him to the Atlanta Braves. I was like,
I don't know.
Please, no. That infield would be so insane with Albies, Olsen, Devers, and then whoever the hell they have at shortstop, which I don't even know who that is right now.
Drake Baldwin?
No, Drake Baldwin's a catcher, I think. Yeah, Drake Baldwin's a catcher.
Drake Baldwin is a catcher.
Because he took over for Sean Murphy, because Sean Murphy had not been playing well. I don't even remember who their shortstop is now. Who the hell's their shortstop? Am I that stupid? I also hate the Atlanta Braves, which is why I don't really follow them as much, but I should know who their shortstop is.
Mauricio Dubon.
Okay. I know who
it's supposed to be Ha-Seong Kim, but Kim suffered a knee injury and he's out for a while.
Oh, yeah, okay. That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, but kind of going back to the whole Mets and Yankees thing, I mean, I was kind of surprised by those guys potentially being traded, but it is a little bit different now because
Devers is struggling in San Francisco.
Which, I mean, we could have seen that.
And Mike Trout is looking at the final stages of his career. And I know he wants to be... He
should have been out a long time ago.
He wants to be the one guy that's loyal or whatnot, but...
No. Go win a World Series, brother.
At this point, you've proven to the Angels fans that you wanted to stay. But at some point, you have to look at the outlook on your career and be like, man, I could be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but
he's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. No, to be honest with you, I think that he's going to end up trying to request a trade to Philly.
I could see him going to Philly.
He's a huge Philadelphia fan. I mean, he loves the Eagles.
He loves the Eagles.
Isn't he from Philly?
No, he's from New Jersey.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's from New Jersey, but he's a huge Philly fan. That's correct. Which makes sense because I know if they're not New Jersey fans, they're usually Philly fans if they live in New Jersey. Okay.
Exactly. He likes the Eagles. I know he was.
I'm pretty sure he was a Flyers fan too.
I think he likes the Flyers. I know he's not a Phillies fan.
Well, yeah, no, I don't. Well, he may be, but
I don't think he is. I think he might be a Yankees fan, I think. I'm not sure.
No.
Hold on. I'm pretty... he might be a Phillies fan. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he's all Philly, but...
He might be.
But anyway, we're going back to the Mets and Yankees situation.
I could see him going to either the Phillies or either New York teams because I know he
ain't going to go to the Mets, trust me.
Well,
I'm pretty sure they're part of his no trade clauses. The Mets are one of the teams that's not on. Is that he's like, no, you're not trading.
I feel like if the Yankees, because I'm looking at the Yankees real quick this season, right, and I'm seeing a lot of things from this year that were different than last year, and it's the same roster. Even Boone's approach to everything is different, and out of the gate, I'm gonna say that I love that. You saw the other day after they got absolutely destroyed by Baltimore. If this was last year, he would have said, oh, we had some good at-bats. I like the swings that we had. We put the ball to the bat, and we just didn't get lucky. It was just an off day, whatever. If he came out the other day and said, listen, there were some pitches we could have hit. We just didn't do anything with them, and we just sucked today. There's nothing we could have done, and we got to do better.
Well, it's still a little bit similar to what he said before, just different approach.
Another thing, well, no, it was more said, but I can't. I don't want to say the rest of it.
Yeah.
But another thing that I like that is different that we're seeing from this year is you're seeing them. It's almost like he realized that, hey, I'm running out of chances here with this team. You saw him go to the World Series, and then he's like, all right, I'm coming back. I just went to the World Series. You saw him go to the playoffs. Oh, we beat Boston. You saw him get beat by Toronto. And then maybe that made him realize that, hey, they brought me back for another year, but there may not be many more after this. I actually have to start managing a team. And the reason I'm saying that is because you saw Caballero come in as he was supposed to be the bridge guy to the start of the season to when Volpe was done with his rehab assignment. And then you see Volpe ready, and you're looking at Caballero like, well, he's kind of playing well, and he's good defensively.
Then he got hurt,
and he has speed on the bases. And Boone's like, you know what? We're gonna keep Volpe in AAA. But then Caballero did get hurt.
And Volpe came back, and he's already in mid-season
He's already terrible.
Yeah.
But you're seeing Boone. Hey, Zach, stop laughing for a second. You're seeing Boone manage the team differently, right? You you saw Louis Hill come up, and you saw him struggle for 2 or 3 starts. Last season, Boone would have just left them and said, nope, he'll be fine, give him another start. But he sent them down. He called up Elmer Rodriguez-Cruz, who didn't really perform that well. I'm not going to say he struggled. Mm-hmm. You're seeing the emergence of somebody who I tended not to like last year in Will Warren, who has actually been somewhat good. You saw production from Max Fried, who's now going to be out for probably 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, most likely. You see them calling up their younger players instead of calling up the players that they would usually call up, because when Dominguez got hurt, which I said prayers for him last week, he's going to be out for a few weeks. When he got hurt, right, this was last year, the first call-up would have been Oswaldo Cabrera. Or Randall Grichuk,
Well, Randall Grichuk had already gotten DFA'd.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know that they DFA'd him.
They DFA'd Randall Grichuk for – I forgot who they DFA'd him for Elmer Rodriguez-Cruz in the game that Dominguez got hurt in Texas.
Wow.
And then –
I did not know that.
And then they had to put Max Schumann in left field.
Oof.
And then after that, Dominguez was fine. They put him back in, and then he got hurt again. And then they put, I think it was Rosario and left that game or something. But what I'm saying is you're seeing them call up their younger prospects and seeing what they can do in the short time. Because you saw them immediately, right? You saw them call up Spencer Jones. He has 1 hit, and I believe he has 1 stolen base with an RBI, maybe 2 stolen bases. I'm not sure. But you're seeing what they can do. And I love this out of the team. You're seeing a team that's realizing that, hey, we're either A, in win now mode, B, seeing what we can do for the future, or C, they're like, our window is closing. Because Cole's coming back at the end of the month. Cole's 36.
Yeah.
Judge is 34 or 33.
Stanton's
36. Cole might be 34. And Stanton's 36. I know that for a fact. But they're all aging. And I feel like this is the 1 year that they're finally realizing they got to put all their chips on the table.
Yeah.
Because after the season, Jazz is a free agent, and I don't think they're going to pay him what he wants.
No. Because him and Grisham have both been...
Grisham is a disappointment. And I think they're putting all their chips on the table. And I think that if they have an opportunity to go trade for a guy in Mike Trout, who statistically in his career hits well at Yankee Stadium, I don't think they say no.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if they do not try and pull a trigger and make some sort of trade, because their 6 through 9 hitters rank, I believe, 27th in production in the MLB this year.
I know.
And if you expect to win a World Series...
It's not great. It's terrible. But you're seeing them make moves that you wouldn't have seen them make last year.
Absolutely.
And you see Boone finally managing a team...
Well, in a little bit different of a manner. I see what you're saying. Now, the Mets...
And that's something I've asked for a while.
Now, I know that they've struggled. They're 4-6 in their last 10, but obviously that's going to happen, and they're probably going to end up getting back into the win column at some point very soon, because they end up playing against the Mets starting today. Yes. Now, the Mets are 7-3 in their last 10.
The one thing I want to say about the Mets is Steve Cohen, why have you not yet fired Carlos Mendoza and called up I know he turned an offer down from the Phillies, but why have you not given Alex Cora a phone call?
Oh, you mean from the Red? Yeah.
I feel like the Red Sox firing Alex Cora was unexpected.
Because you know why? Because Cohen's not in charge of that. You know who's in charge of that? It's David Stearns. Because he's the head of baseball operations, so he has already come out and said Mendoza's not going anywhere. Now, granted, the Mets have
one. Alex Cora would be very good.
I agree. I do too. But again, here's where I'll go with this. They have won 7 of their last 10, which is better. They just swept Detroit. Now, granted, Detroit's also having some of their own issues.
No
as well.
Valdez, no Skubal.
Yeah, they're going through a lot of a tough patch right now as well too. There are a couple players that at least give me some hope. I mean, they hit 5 home runs yesterday, which was awesome. You saw Soto, Vientos.
Marcus Semien
hit one. But the 2 young guys that I want to talk about is Carson Bench.
I thought Soto, did he get hurt yesterday?
No, he fouled one off his foot the day before, and they thought he was going to be out, and then he ended up playing yesterday and hitting a home run. But yeah, no, Carson Bench has been really good in his last 10 games. He's batting .389 with 14 hits, 1 home run, 7 RBIs, and 8 runs. Obviously, I know he started really slow. He's slowly starting to figure it out. He's been very good. The other one that I've liked is A.J. Ewing, who they finally called up. And the young prospect's only played in 3 games so far, but he's batting .333. He's already got a home run, and he's got 3 RBIs. He can steal some bases, too. He's been electric so far to start. They're doing some things right. Now, the Beatty and Vientos and Mauricio train, I don't know how that's going to continue to go. I mean, they're up and down. They have not really been consistent. Beatty and Vientos hit home runs yesterday. Fantastic. Francisco Alvarez is out for a significant period of time because he supposedly hurt his meniscus, so he's going to miss time. It seems like a lot of things are still going wrong for the Mets, but at least they're finding ways to start to get into the win column now. Obviously, Nolan McLean, again, had a little rough start yesterday, but ended up closing it out really well. His ERA is only a 2.92 on the year. He's still been very, very effective. Clay Holmes has still looked really good so far this year. There's a couple bright spots. ERA? It's got to be like sub 2 or close. Last I checked, it was a 1.78 or something like that, but that was probably before his last start. But yeah, no, he hasn't been bad at all. I think that Holmes has been surprisingly really good for the Mets so far this year. Peralta actually looked a little bit better in his last outing. Still not what I would have expected from him.
Yeah, there's no favorite team for Trout for baseball. He said if he had to choose a park to hit at, aside from Angel Stadium, it would be Comerica or Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, so either the Tigers or the Yankees, but the Tigers are also
at
stinking.
Clay Holmes.
Yeah, just look at Clay Holmes quick. But again, like I said, Mets have a lot of good things going right now. They're finally starting to find the win column. Obviously, there's still a lot of concern that, they're still in last place in their division, still have one of the worst records.
That does not seem correct.
What is it?
It is correct. It says Clay Holmes has 4 wins, 3 losses with a 1.86 ERA.
I told you, sub 2. He's been very, very good. That's been very good.
Insane. So that makes a great matchup for tonight's pitching staff then.
Yeah, because tonight we kick off the Yankees versus the Mets series, the Subway Series, a 3-game set, which will be played at Citi Field. This is why I said I'm a little bit nervous about how this goes, because the Yankees are coming off of a little rough stretch. Mets are coming off of a little bit of a hot streak. So do the Mets continue their hot streak? I don't know.
I don't know.
Do the Yankees continue to play, not really get production from 6 through 9?
I am making a bold prediction right here.
What?
On the mound tonight, they have the American League Cy Young Award winner for this year.
Cam Schlittler versus Clay Holmes?
Yeah.
Should be interesting. I almost got tickets to go to the game on Sunday.
That's a pretty bold prediction in my part, but Schlittler's ERA is a 1.35.
Yeah. It's possible with the way he's pitching. So
I was talking about this with my friend last night. He's
up there for strikeouts and ERA, innings pitched. He's been very good.
He's been insanely good this year.
He's been very good this year.
He has his 2026 year. He has 5 wins, 1 loss, 1.35 ERA through 9 games. He has 53.1 innings pitched. 34 hits, only gave up 10 runs, only 8 of them are earned. He only gave up 1 home run. I don't know what NP means. Is that number? It says, number of pitches thrown.
Yeah.
About 790 pitches thrown. He hasn't hit a single batter. He's only walked 9 batters.
So that's 1 per game.
And he struck out 59 batters.
Yeah, he's on pace to have a really good year.
With
what's his whip?
0.81.
Yeah, he's having a hell of a year. So it should be interesting to see how he does against the Mets lineup tonight. He probably throws a perfect game.
He's only 25. He's young.
Yeah. He's probably going to throw a perfect game against the Mets lineup tonight, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I was at his start in Tampa when he almost did it last year.
I know. And tonight he's going to, because the Mets make pitchers look really, really good, and he's already really, really good. So he's going to look like prime big unit Randy Johnson out there tonight, even though it's a righty.
Randy Johnson.
So that'll be great to see. Last thing we'll do before we kind of close it out here is we're just going to check and see, is there any breaking news? I don't know if there is. Probably something the minute that we say, all right, and we'll see you next week, because that's always how it
what
goes.
happens.
Other than the fact that Edwin Diaz is going through a little bit of an issue right now with, all I'll say is a legal issue, because I don't want people to take that the wrong way.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Any breaking news that we see sports-wise.
What about the legal issue?
I'm not going to go into what exactly it is, because what he's going through is really not a...
Who are we talking about?
Edwin Diaz.
Oh. I didn't hear you say that. I was looking for breaking news.
Let's stay away from that. No, I haven't seen anything else. All I know is we did see the UFC fights the other last week, which was crazy.
Yep.
Khamzat Chimaev lost his first fight to Sean Strickland, which was absolutely crazy. You do have the PGA Championship going on right now. Both two guys that were favorites to win the whole thing, in Rory and Bryson DeChambeau, did not have good starts yesterday. Rory finished 4 over, Bryson went 6 over through day one.
I'm not seeing any.
I'm not seeing anything either.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Other than the Edwin Diaz stuff.
Yeah, other than the Edwin Diaz, I haven't seen it.
Let's not go into that. But we will officially wrap up the show here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Straight Outta Stratford podcast, episode number 43. I'm your host, Zach.
I am Julian, and we will be back here next week.
And see you next week.